Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my new video where we are going to go over 5 tips I think every single Talon player needs to know. Now I'm going to set up, the format is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to cover my tips extremely quickly, where I'm just going to go over the broad premise. If you want any more further clarification, ask me in the comments down below. This should be a little bit easier to watch, as my tips last about 5 minutes, about 1 minute covering each one of the tips, where I'm going to be displaying it in a custom game with a friend helping me out, and they're going to have timestamps below them telling you when the next tip is. So if you would like to just skip to the next one if you already know about it, just make sure to check them all out. And then with the final 5 minutes of the video, I'm just going to show you some highlights, some just what Talon looks like in regular plays on just regular games, where you're not like, I'm not just absolutely destroying people in 20-0 in a highlight montage clip. This is just more kind of average Talon plays. If you are interested in the champion, I encourage you to check those out at the end. And if you're new to my channel, my name is Lolfit. I do educational content. I peaked at Diamond 2 Elo, if that is what you are wondering. And yeah, let's get right into the video. Alright, and getting into tip number 1, we're going to talk about one of Talon's biggest power spikes in his level 2 all-in. So how you want to look to set this up is to get a bit of damage on the enemy in your early levels. And right when you hit level 2, you want to get a really good jump in, where you're going to proc your passive, you're going to use your ignite, and it's just going to allow for a lot of damage to usually get the first kill. So if you didn't know, it's the first minion of the second wave is going to give you the level 2. And then the bleed usually kills them. So that is all you have to do for a very simple level 2 cheese when you are playing Talon. Is all-in is probably one of the strongest in the game. And that will wrap up tip number 1. Alright, and getting into tip number 2, you really want to take advantage of Talon's extremely strong roaming potential, where he is able to just take advantage of his higher level being in the solo lane of going to either the mid and top. And as you'll see here, when the Ahri is coming down, you can look to fake a roam and then jump on top of them when they look to match a roam, particularly in low elo, where a lot of people are going to be always matching the roam no matter what, because they know they are going to get yelled at by their teammates if they do not. So always keep this in mind. You can do just the basic roam to the other lanes, or you can fake roam and sit in a bush. Just make sure that you have a control ward, or you have a sweeper, so they do not know that you're just waiting in this bush ready to kill them. And that will wrap up tip number 2. Alright, and getting into tip number 3 and itemization, I just want to walk you through what you should be looking to do when you are playing Talon. And that is, if you are unable to get early kills on your enemy laner, what you want to look to do is buy an early Tiamat and push in the lanes as quickly as possible, and then get your roams off. Early boots are an absolute must when you're playing Talon, and always take into account the enemy team comp. If they have a lot of squishies, you want to start building a little bit more lethality heavy. If they have a lot of tanks and tanky members, like a Leona in the support lane, maybe a Trundle in the jungle, and a Nautilus in the top lane, just a bunch of tanks, you want to be looking to go into things like Black Cleaver and Last Whisper after you are you have your initial lethality item. So always look to just play out your build in particular ways, and where you are going to be best suited for the different game. You do not want to go into those cookie cutter builds of doing the same build over and over again. You will not see the best results. And that will wrap up tip number 3. Alright, and getting into tip number 4, I just want to show you how to effectively teamfight when you are playing Talon. You always want to look to get on the flank of the enemy when you are playing out the teamfights. As you are an assassin, you do not want to try and approach people just head on. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to just show you, just pretend that there is a bunch of enemy players here, and then my team is there, and they're looking to engage right in the middle with the scuttler. So you want to wait for the front lines to engage and look for the back line that is represented by this Ahri here, and we are just going to jump over and look to kill the highest target highest value targets, and then move your way to the front line. As you are an assassin, you do not have the best consistent damage. You just have a lot of burst to kill the enemy squishies. If you have any questions about any of these ways on how to approach team fights, or maybe the roams or the itemizations or the level 1 or level 2 all-ins, just please let me know in the comments down below, and I'd love to help you out. Alright, and jumping into the final tip, I'd like to talk a little bit about the power spikes around an AD assassin. How Talon works is he doesn't have any percentage HP damage, he doesn't have any true damage in his kit, so he is extremely strong in the early and mid game where you can just hit people over the head with extremely strong base numbers. However, this does not scale so well, so you are your strongest in the early and mid game, and how you want to look to play that out is if you're unable to get kills or get a shitload of resources in the mid lane, you want to start roaming to the mid top or getting kills on the enemy jungler. Because you are an assassin, you will be able to win a decent amount of the 1v1s. Just kind of assess what the enemy champions are, if they're 0-2 or 2-0, and look to attack the weaker targets where you are able to get those easy assassinations and get that snowball going. If you have any questions about any of these tips, I'd love to help you out. The scalings are a really important part to start understanding with Talon, because you can't have a game of going 4-0 and you feel super strong, but then the late game hits and they're just people that you cannot assassinate anymore because they have Azonias or Guardian's Angel or all these defensive mechanics to get to stop Talon from assassinating. So that will wrap up my final tip. I'm going to just show you about 5 minutes of highlights and how it kind of looks when you start playing Talon if you are interested in this champion.